Hey guys, it's day 131. It's supposed to be 53 degrees out here today, but I don't believe that for 1 second. Maybe 63 degrees, sun is out. It's already kind of warm, so I don't know what's up. I'm out here today in the Adidas AE1s. Here it is from the side, here it is from the other side. I remember there was so much hype around this shoe when it was coming out. I think this specific colorway was probably either at the end of 2023 or at the beginning of 2024, and I can remember wanting to get this shoe. I was calling a ton of retailers. No one had it. Everyone was sold out. And at the time, the media was kind of pushing Anthony Edwards as kind of the next Jordan. And physically, he shared some of the same attributes. And high fly dunker, and he certainly looked the part. And I know he hated that comparison, but frankly, that sold a lot of shoes for him. Now, because you're thinking about all of that and that possibility of having a generational talent, think about if you could go back in time to get the Jordan 1s on release day, or at least get them before they kind of left the market, would you go back and do it? And the answer for most shoe collectors is heck yeah, you would. So the AE1 was not a shoe that I really wanted to sleep on. I wanted to make sure that I got it in its initial push. So yeah, there was a lot of hype, and I ended up getting this shoe, kind of overpaid for it on StockX. And then ironically, 6 months to a year later, I remember seeing them in kid sizes being sold at Ross Dress for Less. So you have this rising NBA star coupled with an exciting a shoe with an exciting design, looked very futuristic, and I think there's just all this hype. But so Adidas, to respond to that, really tried to increase production, and they probably kind of oversaturated the market with it. And I think that's the case with the AE2s right now. They have just released, I think, in October of this year, and now here in April, they're being heavily discounted everywhere you go. And I just don't think they're selling as much, even though from what I've heard and seen in reviews, it's probably an even better shoe. So no matter what happens within the market, that's not what I'm in it for. I don't care about the shoe's value over time. I really care about having the experience of the shoe, getting to wear them. So I'll never be like a guy who just puts it on the shelf and never wears the shoe. And then I'm about, just kind of building specific memories for certain shoes like this. I'll never forget it because I was calling retailers up right and left and for inventory, and then ultimately ordered it through StockX, and traditionally I don't like to do that. A lot of time with those sites, you're overpaying for an item that you could find, in a rack store or on the used market for a really great deal. So I try not to overspend on releases. But considering, I guess, the hype surrounding the shoe, it kind of got me into some FOMO, and that was kind of my bad. I'm about to do a metered mile, and then after that, I'll give you some thoughts on how these babies are doing. All right, guys, I just completed my metered mile, and I have to say, even though the results were okay, it was a struggle all the way through. These shoes are very heavy, and it's not what they were intended to do, and I know that. It's a very stable shoe, and I know the aesthetics are kind of futuristic and cool, attached to a really cool player, but when it comes down to it, the shoes are just really too heavy, guys. Like, there is light strike and it's supposed to be jet boost in the heel, but you don't feel really any cushioning. And I'm a big dude, so I should be like hitting, basically using all of that cushion that's there, and I feel none of it. They're really just a step above the old Nike Air Max shoes, from the 80s. Now the traction profile and everything of the shoes are really great, but you're sacrificing a lot to get that traction. I would say the fit is overall nice because it does hug your foot, but they use a hard lace in the shoe. It's like a boot lace kind of, and in the left shoe it was pressing down onto the top of my foot. Look, if I was a young guy, the shoe is giving me good grip on the floor. It's giving me great lockdown, good stability. I mean, when you're young, those are all the things that you kind of want or really need. You're not really thinking so much about impact protection. When you get old and fat like me, you start thinking more and more about that cozy lazy boy recliner. So to me, actually, like trying to walk faster in this shoe, it felt heavy, stiff, and clunky, and that's just the truth. And from an old man perspective, it wasn't the easiest shoe to put on either. It was one of those you really have to grab the tongue and grab the back of the shoe and really pull those apart to get the foot in. And even then, you have parts of the shoe that are kind of folding in to where your foot is supposed to be, and so you have to rearrange it and all of that. Just kind of sucks. And then even when you do get it on properly, you still have a lace, because of the way it's designed, that is pressing into the top of the foot. Not exactly pleasant. So my final thoughts are that with all those criticisms thrown out there, despite all of that, I still like the shoe for what it is, where its little place in history and modern history even. But being the first shoe of a really great NBA talent, I think it's pretty cool to have, and the futuristic design is not something that we really had seen, and it's got a really cool design language. So from my perspective, I'll keep the shoe, but I'll probably be putting in a really nice foamy cushy insole in this little bad boy, and then I'll just rock them to get groceries or something like that. Guys, in a little less than a year from now, I'm going to be trying to run a marathon. And for me, in my current weight and my struggle with plantar fasciitis, that's like looking up at Mount Everest. So I have no idea how I'm going to get that accomplished, but I do have a little training plan. I'm going to give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. This coming Wednesday is going to be my first jog in forever. Like the last time I jogged, the only time I've ever jogged is like to get across the road on an intersection or something like that. I told my dad, who's 78, thankfully he's still here with us, and I told him what I was going to be doing, and he just kind of smiled and said, we'll see. And honestly, that's just lit something in me, because I'm like, by God, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I'll show you. My dad has always been there when push comes to shove in all the areas of my life where I was extremely desperate and needed some help out of that desperate situation. He hasn't been the dad that's been there for every important moment. He's missed so many moments. He wouldn't know any of his kids' birthdays, but he provided for us, and he didn't kill us. So I guess there's a plus. And me and my brothers, we were bad. We were very bad. He isn't the kind of dad that's like, when you tell him something you're going to be doing, he's like supportive, He's the opposite of that. He pretty much cuts you down at any chance that he can. But I learned to see through all of that and become very resilient. And over time, I've had to prove him wrong in so many areas of my life. And when I prove him wrong, God, there's no better feeling. But at the same time, I think there's no better feeling for him too, because I've seen him be very proud of the accomplishments that I've had as he's talked with different people. He doesn't tell them though that he kind of, I guess, maybe uses reverse psychology and he kind of withdraws support. But that pisses me off so bad that it motivates me to do it. So I don't know what's better, having a father that's there for you and is supportive in his language and actions, or a father who drives you, who pushes you. I don't know. Well, guys, that's going to do it for me. I'm going to get out of here. Final thought on that. I'm just glad I have a father, So many people, they don't have that. So I'm very lucky. All right, you all take it easy. Later.